What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the back-to-back weeks of chocolate and peanut butter goodness. Straight heaven. But if you guys missed those two videos, I'm gonna go ahead and link them up here. I guarantee you they won't disappoint. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold up. Guys, we officially hit 6,000 subscribers. I'm sure by the point this video actually goes live, we're gonna be surpassed that. Damn, it feels awesome. We're moving and grooving and all catching a better buzz. At least I hope we all are. Either way, we've got epic eats with an epic jacked family. Name a better duo. But what I really wanted to say is a huge shout out to you all. Thank you so much for giving me a few minutes out of your day to hang out with me and tune into some epic eats. It means the world, and I only hope to grow more with you all. But anyway, enough with the sappiness. In all seriousness, if you are new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button. I mean, absolutely destroy that subscribe button like you're dropping bombs. And hit me up on the good old Instagram, cause hey, I get to interact with you guys on a whole nother level. On another note, a lot of you guys send recipes for me to review, and while I can't get to all of them, I'm definitely listening. So today we're gonna check out Brandon Harding's ProHD oatmeal protein cookie recipe. I figure it only makes sense because this big guy is creeping up on his big show day. So what better way to get anabolic and experience some epic shreds than to dive into this protein cookie recipe. So without further ado, let's get into it. And as always, guys, make sure to have a scale and a bowl. Now, in case you guys haven't seen Brandon Harding's refeed video where he showcases the ProHD cookie recipe, I'm gonna go ahead and link the video in the description box below, but I will say the ProHD cookie is pretty ginormous. And with that being said, we're gonna use 80 grams of rolled oats. And in his refeed video, he actually lists out two different types of versions for the ProHD cookie recipe. He's got a healthy version and then also a high calorie version. This specific recipe that we're gonna go through is gonna be the healthier version. And you know we gotta level up somehow. We've got 50 grams of a whey protein isolate. All right, guys, before we go any further, we're gonna go ahead and turn on our oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit with a cook time of about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, in the recipe, it actually calls for an air fryer for 400 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. But since we're converting to an oven, we're gonna go ahead and increase the temperature 25 degrees and then expect to possibly double that cook time. So that's why we're sitting at the 15 to 20 minute mark, and we'll see how this goes. Then we've got half a teaspoon of baking powder. Next up, we've got 1 teaspoon of a raspberry emulsion. Boop. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, what the heck is an emulsion? Well, let me tell you. First off, extract's primary difference is that it's alcohol-based. So anytime you've ever tried or taste tested vanilla extract, a banana extract, a lime extract, whatever extract it may be, or even an imitation extract, you're gonna get a hint of alcohol, but it's a slight hint. Now, in terms of emulsions, they're gonna be primarily water-based, which means when you toss it into the oven and especially exposed to high heat, your baked goods are gonna keep that flavor intact. So, emulsions. Now, in Brandon Harding's video, he actually uses a little bit of water to create a cookie batter consistency. Now, since there is no actual description in terms of how much water to use, we're gonna go ahead and start off with half a cup, give this a good mix and see where we're at. So I think we're in a pretty good spot. Half a cup seems to do the trick. We got the consistency that we're looking for, and this is ready to go in the oven. However, it's looking a little tame. I kind of want to spruce it up with some sprinkles, yeah! And some chocolate, woohoo! So from here, we're just gonna go ahead and toss this in the oven. Now, if you guys have some parchment paper, feel free to use that, but I'm just using a little bit of aluminum foil along with some non-stick. But otherwise, I'll see you in a second. And we can't forget the good old PB drizzle. Now, we're gonna go ahead and use 16 grams of a PB fit. We're gonna use a little bit of water, create that drizzle. But I will say the original recipe asked for 16 grams of Professor Nutz. Now, Professor Nutz macro breakdown is pretty similar to this, so we're just gonna go ahead and use this as a replacement. And here we are, guys. looking a little interesting. More like a pancake than an actual cookie. However, I will say it's got a nice little crisp to it. We still need to dress it up. And we're back, guys. Top this off with some epic dressings. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, we go through 3 categories: anabolics, taste, and craving. First up, let's get into the anabolics. Now, in terms of total calories and macro breakdown for this entire sucker right here, including the dressings and all the toppings, we're looking at a total of 696 total calories with 12 grams of fat, 71 grams of protein, and 76 grams of carbs. Now, just as a heads up, this recipe right here is based off of the healthier version, aka the lower calorie version of Brandon Harding's Pro Carb recipe. Now, total calories for the actual recipe comes out to, I think, about 500 give or so calories. Now, you can see there is a slight difference, but I will say probably the biggest portion is the fact that I've added in some sprinkles and also some chocolate chips. So if you guys are looking to really match up 1-to-1, then definitely take those out. But otherwise, that's it. Now, in terms of overall total calories, 500 or 600 total calories seems like a bit much for this amount of volume. I would have imagined at least a little bit of a heftier size cookie or pancake, because this kind of looks like a pancake, to be honest. But outside of that, I don't know. Breakdown in terms of protein is quite significant. But in terms of protein, we're sitting pretty good. 71 grams versus 76 grams of carbohydrates, almost a 1-to-1 ratio, which is great. But at the same time, 71 grams, to be honest, is quite a bit of protein. And then we've got 12 grams of fat. Now, his recipe is slightly lower in total fat, but again, it's attributed to the fact that I've added some chocolate chips. So if you guys are concerned about the fat content or just overall calories, just move those and you should be sitting pretty even keel. But overall, in terms of total calorie and macro breakdown, and then also taking a look at the total volume, I'm gonna go ahead and rate this as a solid 6.8. There's just not a whole lot to work with. I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong, because once we dig into it, who knows? It could be super dense. It could be totally filling. I just don't see a whole lot here, and I would have imagined a bigger or a larger cookie. I mean, technically this is like the size of my head, but at the same time, 12 grams of fat, I'm not too mad about that. And if you think about it, Brandon Harding's a pretty big dude, and he's got a ton of calories to take in. So with that, regardless if it's 8, 7, or 12 grams, there's not that large of a window being missed there. So for him, this probably isn't that big of a deal. And now on to taste. And you know how we do, fam, always going in with the close-up. But in terms of the overall cookie, it's more like a pancake. If I had to be honest, pancake. Now, you guys saw the batter consistency: oats, whey protein, a little bit of baking powder to help cookie rise, and then also some emulsion. Now, outside of that, there's not a whole lot to it. I think you could imagine how this is actually gonna come out. So what I'm really actually curious about is how this actually tastes. Ton of toppings, a ton of dressings, and I'm sure by now this thing is pretty soaked. So let's go ahead and dive into a taste test. All right, just even cutting into this feels super thick. All right, cheers. Water. All right, guys, so we're gonna give this another shot. That version was definitely very dry. I also left it in the oven for a little bit too long. So switch things up in terms of bake time. We set it at 400 degrees and had the bake time of about 10 minutes. Now, this is definitely way softer than the previous one, but same toppings, same amount of calories, same amount of volume, still looking pretty epic. But the real question is, are you ready? There we go. And I still stand by the fact that this definitely looks like a pancake and feels like a pancake, but cheers. 100% way better than the first one. That's pretty freaking good. All right, here's the deal, guys. We're gonna rate taste a solid 8. I mean, solid 8. This is 100 times better than the previous version that I made, but I will say definitely bake 10 minutes at 400 degrees and you should be good. Now at the 10-minute mark, you're gonna wanna make sure you take a look at the cookie or pancake. I still think it's a pancake, but what you're gonna wanna look for is basically making sure that it's slightly undercooked. So you can take a look at the middle portion of the cake and you'll know that it's just slightly undercooked. When you've got that, you are golden. Now, in terms of overall texture, still, it's like a tad bit dry, but I will say all the toppings, the dressings, definitely make this extremely mouth-watering. When I say that, the raspberry emulsion, which you guys are gonna definitely have to try, along with the peanut butter, the chocolate syrup, and then also the fruit toppings just really come together, just give you a full rounded flavor. Now, if you guys are gonna use raspberry emulsions, I highly recommend you guys using ingredients that are gonna help complement that flavor. So for example, I use raspberry emulsion. We've got blueberries, we've got strawberries. Those combined are gonna give you a more complete flavor profile rather than just having the raspberry emulsion and then let's say, I don't know, chocolate chips in it, right? You're just gonna get kind of like the aroma of raspberry without the full-fledged flavor. Now, in terms of overall taste, definitely a solid 8. I would highly recommend you guys try this out. Don't over bake it. You have to keep an eye on it. I get more of a texture of an actual pancake. Now, Brandon, if you're watching this or listening, I've got an epic anabolic pancake recipe for you to try. But with that being said, like the closest thing that I could really resemble this against is almost like a baked oats version. Something that you've probably seen on TikTok or maybe on Instagram, very much so in terms of overall texture. But it's also a really good question, right? In the anabolic community, how do we define a protein cookie recipe? Because a lot of the times, a lot of our protein cookie recipes that we come across tend to be way more fluffy, bread-like or pancakey-like than an actual cookie. However, I will say that this guy has a great protein cookie recipe. You just gotta show it some more love. Outside of that, definitely I think there's a lot of room to be made within the protein cookie realm, especially within the anabolic community. But this to me sits more in the realm of baked oats / pancake arena. Now, is this gonna satisfy your craving? Oh boy, it will. Yeah, we're gonna totally give this a solid 9 in terms of overall craving. I'm gonna tell you right now, the texture that you get along with the toppings and the overall flavor is gonna give you a very, very awesome sweet treat, especially if you're dieting down and haven't had a whole lot of exposure to sweets during the whole diet process, right? This is gonna really hit the spot. Now, for those of you who haven't been dieting a whole lot, been munching on other types of anabolic recipes, maybe this might not hit as hard, but I will say, to me, the texture of the baked oats, along with the fruit, the PB, and the chocolate just amazing. Well guys, we just went through the 3 categories, anabolics, taste, and craving for a total score of 7.9. Now, huge shout out to Brandon for this crazy epic recipe and also best of luck on your pro card endeavors. Now, outside of that, thank you all so much for tuning in to another anabolic recipe. Again, I highly encourage you guys to try this recipe out, regardless of the ratings. You just never know when you're gonna find an epic recipe that you can make and spin up to be your own and be one of your absolute favorites. But in the meantime, if you guys enjoyed this anabolic recipe, got some awesome fun out of it, give this video a big fat thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button. But outside of that, stay safe, stay swole, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.